Hey everybody, hope everybody's surviving. We're gonna go ahead and get started with our first Math 1 lesson for our new chapter. So we're gonna talk about graphing inequalities today, as you can see. So first thing I wanna do is I wanna remind you guys about what the inequality symbols are. So when I wanna say that a number is less than but not equal to something, I'm gonna use this symbol, the less than symbol. And when I'm going to graph that to represent being less than, I'm going to shade kind of towards the way that this arrow points towards the less than numbers. And since it's not equal to, I'm going to use an open circle to show that it's not equal to that number. So if it was less than 7, then any number that's less than the 7 right here would be included. Then if it's greater than but still not equal to, the greater than symbol would be like this. And then when I graph it, it's going to be going towards the bigger numbers, so this way. And again, it's going to be an open circle because it's not included. So if it was greater than 7, here's 7 right here, not included, but all the numbers above it would be included. Then I have less than or equal to. So that looks the same way, but then there's a line on the bottom that shows that it's equal to as well. So that means if it's less than or equal to 7, that means it could be 7 or it could be less than 7. So that's going to look the same way. It's still pointing this direction because those are the numbers that are getting less that way. But it's going to be a filled in circle because it could be equal to it. Same thing for greater than or equal to. We have our greater than symbol. We have the equal to on the bottom. And then same thing, it's going to go in this direction towards the greater numbers. And it's going to be solid because it is equal to. So the answer here are included, and here they're not included. Okay, so we're going to use this to help us do some examples here. Okay, so our first example is going to be x is greater than or equal to -4. That's how we would say that. X is greater than or equal to -4. Okay, so it's a greater than symbol, and you can use this also kind of like as an arrow as long as the x is in front. So I'm going to start at -4, and since it has an equal to on the bottom, I'm going to make a whole closed dot at -4. So I'll use a different color so it shows up better. So at -4, I'm going to make a closed dot because -4 is included. It says equal to. And then it's all the numbers that are greater than or equal to -4. So greater than is going to be going in this direction, this way. Or you can also shade it on the graph itself. Sometimes you can't see it unless you're using like a highlighter or something like that. But yep. So that's how you graph x is greater than or equal to -4. Okay. Let's look at another one. Let's look at j is less than 7. We're going to go ahead and graph j is less than 7. Notice this time that it's not less than or equal to, it's less than. So on 7 here, I'm going to use an open circle this time because it's not included. It's not equal to 7. It's only less than 7. And I want all the numbers that are less than 7. So that's this way. And again, it kind of goes along with this arrow here as well. So all of these numbers would be included in my solution. Okay, now I want to make one quick comment before we go on to example 2 here. Sometimes when we write our inequalities, sometimes they're given to us, I would say, backwards. So it might be written like this. Okay, now this says 7 is greater than j. Well, we know if j is less than 7, then that must mean 7 is also greater than j. So these are saying the same thing. But before you graph something, you always want to make sure that it's written like this. Okay? So if it's written with the variable on the right side, then you want to flip the whole thing, including the sign, so that it's written correctly before you try to graph it. Okay? All right, so now we're going to look a little bit at compound inequalities. Compound meaning more than one that's happening at the same time. So let's look at our first example here. X is less than or equal to -5, or X is greater than or equal to -1. So since it says or, that means either one of them could be true. They don't both have to be true at the same time, either one of them. So I'm actually going to graph them both on this graph because either one of them could be true. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and graph that first one. X is less than or equal to -5. Since it has an equal to, I'm going to put a solid dot at -5. Solid dot because it's equal to. And it's less than or equal to -5. So the numbers that are less than -5 are this way. And again, it kind of goes with the sign. See how it makes the same kind of error? The arrow right here makes the same kind of arrow. Okay, then I have X is greater than or equal to -1. Again, I have an equal to, so it's going to be a solid dot at -1. And then from -1, I want greater than, so it's going to follow that same arrow, the numbers that are greater than. So see the arrow is pointing that way, follows the same arrow. So that would be how we would graph that first compound inequality. The second type of compound inequality we're going to look at is when it's and, not or, meaning they both have to be true. So in this case, they both have to be true, not just one. Both of them have to be true, okay? This could also be written, if I separate it, it could also be written as, these are the same, could be written as -3 is less than or equal to X, and I'm just splitting it, and X is less than 6. So see how I kind of just wrote the X twice? I just split this into the same thing. I just wrote the X twice. So I kind of looked at it like this. See? -3 is less than or equal to X, and X is less than 6. So I can write them separately if I want to. And then remember what we talked about earlier? We want to turn this around so that the X is in front. So I'm going to flip the whole thing. So that's X is greater than or equal to -3. The whole thing flips. Here the X is already in front, so that's just fine. So now I'm going to go ahead and graph them, but I only want the solution where both of them are true this time. Not where one of them is true, but both of them. Okay, so X is greater than or equal to -3. So I'm going to go to -3. It's going to be a solid dot because it's equal to. Okay, and I'm just going to kind of draw an arrow. It's greater than is going this way, right? I'm not going to go all the way through. You'll see why in just a minute. Then this one says X is less than 6. So less than is not included. So I'm going to draw an open circle at 6. And the numbers that are less than 6 are going this way, right? So you can see if I would have drawn this going this way and I would have drawn this going this way, the part where both of them are true is right in the middle. So my solution is right in the middle of those two. Now, if you want to remember from now on, this means in between. Wherever you see this notation, it means in between. Then now you can know, okay, I'm going to graph the -3, solid circle, because the equal to. I'm going to graph the 6, open circle, because no equal to, and then I'm going to shade in between. That works as well. Okay, so that's compound inequalities. That should help you with your assignment for today. Check back for another assignment tomorrow, and feel free to let me know if you guys have any questions. Have a great day.